Emotional intelligence, a must have. To effectively relate with people and handle relationships well, one must have emotional intelligence. The word intelligence can no longer be defined just by academic qualifications, professional titles, or technical expertise. Many highly educated, highly skilled people struggle not because they lack knowledge, but because they lack the ability to understand themselves and relate effectively with others. Emotional intelligence, what is it? Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, manage, and appropriately express our own emotions while also recognizing, understanding, and influencing the emotions of others. In simple terms, it is about how well we handle ourselves and how well we handle relationships. How well we handle ourselves and how well we handle relationships is all about emotional intelligence. It has five components. Emotional intelligence has five key components. Self awareness. What is self awareness? This is the ability to recognize your emotions as they happen and understand how they affect your thoughts, decisions, and behavior. A self aware person knows their strengths, limitations, triggers, and values. They are honest with themselves. It involves activities like journaling, mood tracking, and self reflection exercises to help identify and understand one's own emotions. So, track down your moods. What is it that makes you angry, such that if it's triggered off early in the morning, you remain angry the whole day? What it is that makes you happy? That when it is triggered, you remain a happy, positive person all day long. And when you journal them down, then now you'll reflect on how you can manipulate or how you can use this. After understanding yourself, you will know how to relate with others well. Also, you'll also learn how to understand where they're coming from. What are their moods? What triggers them? What makes them what makes them happy? What makes them sad? What makes them angry? It will also help you to understand that. So self-awareness is a key component of emotional intelligence. Another one is self-regulation. This is the ability to manage your emotions rather than allowing your emotions to control you. It is the difference between responding thoughtfully and reacting impulsively. Have you met people who just don't know how to handle themselves? You tell them one thing, like let's say somebody is a doctor. You say, you're a doctor and you don't know this. Or you have messed him up for the whole day. He becomes angry with everybody. He no longer listens. He's just shut up in himself. How can this person say, I'm a doctor and I don't know this? So it is the difference between responding thoughtfully and reacting impulsively. Self regulation enables us to maintain professionalism, discipline, and emotional maturity, especially when under pressure. How do you behave when you're under pressure? Do you now just become angry and annoyed with everybody, shouting and screaming at everyone? So activities that help us in the self-regulation is things like deep breathing techniques or taking a break when feeling overwhelmed. Instead of being torn to pieces when you're under pressure, just take a break, walk away for a while, and then come back again when your mind is cleared and you are able to handle or you're able to think through that challenging situation. Another component of emotional intelligence is motivation. Emotionally intelligent people are driven by purpose, not just external rewards. Motivation is the internal drive and passion to achieve goals, often stemming from a desire for personal fulfillment rather than external rewards. People who are motivated are resilient, they are optimistic, they are able to persevere despite setbacks. Imagine a person who is determined. If a person is determined to become a soldier, he has purpose that his calling is to become a soldier. And in spite of of how people try to dissuade him from joining the army, they say you might be killed and nobody will care. Well, it might put on the front line. You might come back dead. You might come back handicapped when you go to battle. But this person, because he's determined, he has purpose in his heart that I want to become a soldier to defend my country from any external attack. He will he will set his face steadfast to become a soldier in spite of any opposition that he may face, even if the training is hard. Even if he has very tough people in the training, has very tough superiors, he will still, because his mind is set on becoming a soldier, he will not turn to the right or the left. He will be determined to persevere and graduate as a soldier and defend his country. Even like, let's say a person has decided that I want to become a pilot. This is a female. There are not very many female pilots, but they are there. So he's told, no, being a pilot is not a profession for a lady. Imagine when you're pregnant and you're about to deliver and you're high up there in the air, you start getting labor pains. What will you do? You're halfway across the Atlantic Ocean. Will you land in the Atlantic Ocean? But because the person is determined, I want to become a pilot. I'm interested in transporting, flying people all over the world. This person will definitely not be shaken by anything, but they will remain steadfast, optimistic, and they will also be very resilient in their in their cause, in their determination to become what they have purpose to be in life. Another component of emotional intelligence is empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and appreciate the feelings, perspectives, and experiences of others. It means putting yourself in the other person's shoes and perceiving how you will react when you're in their shoes. It does not mean agreeing with everyone, but it means acknowledging their humanity. Another component of emotional intelligence, the fifth one, is social skills. This include communication, conflict management, collaboration, influence, and relationship building. Social skills help people to work effectively in teams, lead others, resolve agreements constructively. So together, these five elements, they determine how effective we are not just as professionals, but also as human beings in society and in the communities that we find ourselves in the spaces that we find ourselves in. Why is emotional intelligence critically important? Emotional intelligence is important because it determines the effectiveness of a leader. Leaders who practice emotional intelligence are effective. Normally, one might think because one has got very high qualifications, like one might be having 3 PhDs or 3 masters, they'll make the best leader. But you'll find in life, it is not the smartest person who can become the leader, who can be an effective leader, but the person who practices emotional intelligence. Leaders who practice emotional intelligence are normally very effective leaders because they listen, they inspire trust, they manage conflict, and they bring out the best in others. In contrast, leaders with low emotional intelligence end up having toxic environments, high staff turnover, and disengaged teams because they have not learned how to practice emotional intelligence, or their emotional intelligence is very low. Emotional intelligence is also important because it improves workplace performance. In today's workplace, in the public sector, in the private sector, or entrepreneurship, success depends on collaboration. There's no room for solo stars. People must work together. Technical skills may get you hired, but emotional intelligence determines whether you are promoted, retained, or trusted with responsibility. So don't feel annoyed that I was employed with so and so, I was employed with Jane. At the same time, we were both employed as research assistants, and now Jane is a chief researcher, and I'm still a research assistant. How has your intelligence? Have you grown in your emotional intelligence? You might find that your colleague was very good in demonstrating emotional intelligence, and that got her to be promoted to a higher grade than you, in spite of other things that require one that qualify one for promotion. Another advantage of emotional intelligence is that it strengthens relationships. Emotional intelligent people, they communicate clearly, resolve conflict respectfully, and they build healthy relationships. Nowadays, in the workplace or in society as a whole, you find there are people from different backgrounds, different generations, and different cultures. We have the Gen Zs, we have the millennials, Generation X, we have the boomers. So when we practice emotional intelligence, when we are able to communicate clearly, in spite of the age differences, in spite of the emotional differences that people have, the outlook on life, if we are able to practice emotional intelligence at the workplace, communicating clearly, resolving conflict respectfully, building healthy relationships, you will find that it strengthens the relationships at the workplace or in a community, in an association, whether it's a chama whether it is a family situation, you'll find that when we practice emotional intelligence, we are able to strengthen our relationships with one another. Another importance of emotional intelligence is that it supports mental well-being. Uh, People who understand and manage their emotions cope better with stress, pressure, and change because they already understand themselves. And that way, they are able to cope with whatever it is that they are facing, whatever stress they are facing, whatever pressure they are facing, or if they have to undergo change. Another reason why we need, why emotional intelligence is very important is that it is essential in this world that we are living with. In this rapidly changing world, we need emotional intelligence. With the rise of AI, artificial intelligence, automation, and digital transformation, technical skills are becoming easy to replace. But emotional intelligence remains uniquely human and increasingly valuable. Why is emotional intelligence a must have? There is a danger in ignoring emotional intelligence. So we want to look at that. What is it that can happen if we ignore emotional intelligence? We say it's not important. If we ignore emotional intelligence, it can come at a high cost, both individually and organizationally, and even in the community, in the spaces that we are in. When we don't practice emotional intelligence, or if we allow it to be very low, it leads to poor decision making. When emotions are unmanaged, people act out of anger, they act out of fear, ego, or frustration. This results in damaged reputations, broken relationships, and missed opportunities. I have a real life story that I can tell about this. There was a time when there was a TB injection booster, these inoculations for TB. It was being so there were the some health agents from there or some health assistants from the Ministry of Health were going around and just giving children on the from the ages of 4 downwards a booster of the TB because I think there was an outbreak. And one came to my gate, and when I opened the gate, I noticed that they were quarreling amongst themselves right there. So one of them said, "Okay, we've come to. Do you have any children under 4 years and under?" I said, "Yeah, I have one." Then again, they started having an argument. Then I just said, "Okay, you people, you seem that you're not agreeing. So when you get your act together, you can knock on my gate again." And I closed the gate. So you see how because they were not able to, they were just there. They don't know when they go out to the public, they're supposed to behave in a certain way. They're just calling among themselves. They are disagreed about something. So it does lead to damaged reputation. It was damaging the reputation of the Ministry of Health in the county. When emotional intelligence is low or missing, it fuels conflict and workplace toxicity. Most workplace conflicts are not caused by policy or procedure, but by poor communication, lack of empathy, and emotional immaturity. Ignoring emotional intelligence allows small misunderstandings to escalate into major disputes. Imagine somebody refusing to share small things, like let's say you are in an open office and you just want your colleague to lend you a biro or a punch, and the person says no. That immediately can create a lot of acrimony in the office. Or maybe your boss calls for a meeting, people come from different branches, they're in the boardroom, and then he sends a message after the time when the meeting is supposed to begin that he has canceled the meeting. That can cause a lot of conflict. It can cause a lot of discouragement. It can make people it can bring mistrust. Next time he calls for a meeting, people will not come, or they might first find out whether the meeting is really on, and then they come late because last time they came on time or before time they were told no more meeting. Lack of emotional intelligence at the workplace also limits career growth. Many professionals stagnate in their careers, not because they lack competence, but because they lack emotional intelligence. They struggle with feedback, they resist change, they fail to collaborate, or they alienate colleagues. Some people feel if you're not of my tribe, I can never have anything to do with you. You might be in the same team, but the team leader is just having a close relationship with people of his tribe. If you're not of his tribe or you're not of his religion, he he alienates you. How will you grow as a leader? When time comes for performance assessment, the leader is seen as he's having a disengaged team. How can he be promoted? Another disadvantage of not having emotional intelligence is that it damages organizational culture. When emotional intelligence is ignored at the leadership level, The leader does not care about his team, about the managers working under him, about the supervisors working under him, about the operators working under him. You'll find that such an organization will experience low morale. There'll be a lot of absenteeism, high turnover, and poor service delivery because they know our boss does not care about us. All he cares about maybe is just going for meetings and just meeting his friends in the office, and off he goes. Communication not made well. So people get, you can even lose your best talent because they get discouraged, and they can even decide to leave for better, more greener pastures, other companies of choice. They can leave. It can create high turnover and poor service delivery. So you can imagine if the poor service delivery is in an organization that serves the public, it means this will affect the citizens and the stakeholders. Ignoring emotional intelligence dehumanizes the workplace. People become treated as numbers, positions, or tools rather than as human beings with emotions, aspiration, and challenges. I worked for a company whereby in the instant that the company faced a challenge, the first thing that they did was to say, let's reduce the workforce. They don't care. We say there could be, the company had, like, let's say the company had 4 cars. They say, okay, we have 5 drivers. Let's cut them down to 2 drivers. 2 drivers to drive 4 cars. And many others. So when we ignore, when we treat people as numbers, especially at the workplace, positions or tools, when you come in the morning, you go look at your your teammates, and you say, you people are supposed to be 10. How come you're 8 today? I think we need to get rid of all the 8 of you, because it seems like there's nothing much that you're doing here. So a call to action: emotional intelligence is not fixed. It can be learned, developed, and strengthened at any stage of life or career. It's never too late. If you're not practicing it, you can start practicing it now. Emotional intelligence begins with internal self-reflection. It requires listening more than speaking, responding more than reacting, choosing understanding over judgment. As individuals, we must ask ourselves, how do I handle pressure and conflict? How do my emotions affect others? Am I aware of how I come across? Are you the leader who just goes and says, oh, you people, you are dunderheads. I'm the only one who knows how this job is supposed to be done. That is why I'm in this position of a manager. How do you come across? How will your teammates perceive you and themselves? As leaders and professionals, we must recognize that how we make people feel is just as important as what we achieve. It's like if you consider yourself to be 1 and your teammates, the people who work under you, as 0, 1 times 0 is 0. So how we make people feel is just as important as what we achieve. If you are 1 and the rest are 0, just do 1 times 0 and you'll know what you achieve will definitely be 0, because we need one another. We need to collaborate in order to achieve, to meet our objectives, to meet our goals. Collaboration is very, very important. So as I come to a close of this podcast, I would like us to know that emotional intelligence is not a soft skill. It is a core life skill. It shapes our leadership, it shapes our relationships, it shapes our workplaces and our society. Ignoring emotional intelligence may not have immediate consequences, but over time, it leads to broken relationships, failed leadership, and unrealized potential, which is a negative sign. It is a red sign in any organization, in any association. If we want stronger organizations, if we want healthier workplaces and more human leadership, then emotional intelligence must move from being optional to being essential. Thank you very much. My name is Susan Solomon. I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a talent acquisition specialist. I'm also a trainer, mainly in management and entrepreneurship skills. And I'm an entrepreneur in the fashion industry. You can get in touch with us. You can like and share this podcast with others. And also you can comment. And we normally answer any comments that we receive. So like this podcast, share it with others. Get in touch with us. We can come and train you. If you want more training on emotional skills for yourself, for your teams, for your workers, for your directors, We are here. We can come down to the ground. We can communicate. You can communicate with us, and we can come down and be able to conduct trainings for you, for your people, even for your chamas, even in schools, even in institutions, colleges. We are here at your service. So get in touch with us if you need to, and we will be very happy to engage with you.